This semester I did part-time with Story of Wealth and part-time with The Conscious Citizens. Story of Wealth is a documentary coming out in the summer of this year about United States capitalist accumulation since the beginning of the history until now. The Conscious Citizens is a political education project by two people. Um, and I spent 20 hours on each one each week to create 40 hours. My biggest accomplishment for Story of Wealth was the really tight deadline. If I don't get the animations done, the documentary's not done. So that is a lot of pressure and stress. So every time that I opened my laptop, I had to make the most of it. The biggest accomplishment for the Conscious Citizens was I don't know, I think just like fitting into a role where they had never had an employee before. They're married and this is just kind of like their passion project, and they wanted to try out having an employee or an intern or whatever you call me. And that was a little like they had some bumps along the way because they were figuring out what they wanted from me, but I'm proud that I was the first one to try it out with them. Biggest challenge was like once again the timeline here, but also staying organized because there's about like the documentary is broken up into episodes, and each episode is broken up into parts, and each part has multiple animations. So I had to stay very organized with which episode and part I'm on, which animation I'm on, and keeping those all of the assets and the dependencies in files. It was just a lot of files and a lot of organization I needed to keep the timeline on track. My biggest challenge and how I overcame it here was once again just like they never even had an employee before and they were used to just communicating amongst themselves. So we were trying to figure out workflow and also just they were trying to make some brand guideline like system changes, and that was hard for them to like communicate that to me in a clear enough way because I'm not like I haven't been with this project for the life of it like they have. So I overcame that just through a lot of communication. We'd meet pretty often. What did I learn about the design industry of the work world? Well, lucky enough, these both companies and both bosses that I had were not part of like the big corporate world. They had a lot of say over what kind of boss they wanted to be and what kind of work they want to put out in the world. And what I learned is that, yeah, after my last two co op rotations, where it felt like I was just kind of, I wasn't passionate about the work I was doing, I learned that this time around I want to continue to look off list and make sure that I'm passionate about the content of what I'm doing, which in both of these cases is political education. Biggest takeaway to apply to next semester is, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I want to keep on finding counter institutions that are not, because it's just really important to me not to be making products or like, I don't know. I have an idea of what I want to do, and what I want to do is change people's minds about the system that we live in. So, I want to work for more political education stuff. I do want to show, I guess, like, just so that I get a good grade and share enough, I'm going to show one of my animations. Um, just, let's see. Maybe I won't show the whole thing.
250,000 people. I think many of the demographers and people who study populations would attribute a 90 to a 95% kill off and die off rate of indigenous people within the context of the United States, right? The low point.
So, yeah, you can hear the person talking like I would just get a blank spot in the movie that I would have to fill in with an animation. And then what I do for Conscious Citizens was mostly, I don't even know if I said that, what I do for Conscious Citizens is social media stuff. So basically, like, they will write articles and I will make them in like to bite size summaries for Instagram to get people onto their website to read the longer versions.